Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's the CD guy, Johnny Z here. Thank you so much for tuning back into the channel, and today I'm going to be reviewing the new Bon Jovi studio album, Forever. First of all, just some fast album facts. Forever is the 16th studio album by Bon Jovi, released today on June 7th, 2024 through Island Records, and it's the follow-up to 2020 from, you guessed it, 2020. Time for John's 5, my top 5 favorite songs from the new album. Coming in at number 1, I'm going to go with the album closer, Hollow Man. Beautifully written ballad here, acoustic guitar driven with an emphasis on Jon Bon Jovi's melodic, almost soft-spoken vocals. I love the atmosphere created on this track. I think the lyrics are great. John really, dives into his more self-reflective thoughts here with these lyrics, which I think is fantastic. Just a great, relaxing track, a really somber, almost apt way, I think, to end the record. And, this is my favorite song from the album, and truthfully, this may become one of my favorite Bon Jovi tracks of all time, if I'm being honest. But hands down, the best song here on Forever, and so definitely had to put it at number 1. Great album closer, and in my opinion, the best song on the album. For number 2, I'm going to go with Walls of Jericho. A very fun track here. It's upbeat and pretty anthemic. Just a feel-good song. I can definitely picture this track being cranked up on a summer day. It just has that kind of a vibe to it. I think the drumming really stood out to me on this track as well. Very powerful sounding in the mix here, and the whole album is really produced very well, almost sterile by John Shanks and Jon Bon Jovi. So great job there. The song sounds fantastic, right? It's got a great mix, great production to it, and again, very fun, upbeat stuff. Following that up now with my number 3, I'm going to go with I Wrote You a Song. I think this track complements, John's older voice really well. It's a classic Bon Jovi ballad here, accompanied by piano. The lyrics are really well written and a bit introspective as well. I almost get modern-day Billy Joel meets GNR vibes from this track, if that makes any sense. But back to the lyrics, I mentioned it was one of the more introspective sounding on the record here, and definitely a highlight, I think, from a songwriting standpoint. For number 4, I'm going to go with Legendary, which was the lead single released for the album, and it was the album opener as well. Really good song. It's catchy, it's fun, has a nice groove to it. Definitely very commercial sounding. Sounds like it was made for the radio, so it makes sense this was the lead single for the album. Not a great track in my opinion, not great Bon Jovi, but, while it's a bit simple, it's definitely a harmless song nonetheless, and I think it does a good job of setting the tone for the record with Bon Jovi's, laid-back vocals. So for that, I think it makes for a great gateway to the rest of the album here, and, for very obvious reasons, I could tell why this was the lead single. Again, a very radio-friendly song here, but while it's not my favorite song on the record, still, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. A very solid track nonetheless. And rounding out John's 5 here, I'm going to go with We Made It Look Easy. This is the second song on the album, and it definitely continues the similar vibe and atmosphere to Legendary. I think John's relaxed vocals here sound good. It's definitely an earworm of a track, and one that I could possibly find myself going back to more often, so I think it makes for a great 1-2 punch for the album here, continuing with that similar sound and vibe and atmosphere from Legendary onto track number 2. All in all, this album gets 7.5 out of 10 stars for me. I've never claimed to be the biggest Bon Jovi fan out there, but I was really interested in how he would sound on this record, considering this is the first since his vocal cord surgery, and honestly, I think this is his best album since This House Was Not For Sale, maybe even going back further to Lost Highway, if I'm being honest here. His vocals are obviously not what they used to be, right? I mean, nobody sounds the way they used to. It's time catches up to you. What are you going to do? But his voice really shines on the more melodic tracks, and this album was really well written, deep and introspective at times, fun and catchy at times as well, and you have to give Bon Jovi a lot of credit here. Production is stellar, and so clean you could eat off of it at times. So that I think a lot of the tracks benefit from crisp sound here in the mix. And so looking back at 40 years of Bon Jovi, this album definitely does put everything into perspective. From the man himself, of course, and in a lot of ways things come full circle here with callbacks to Bon Jovi's former sound while also staying true to this new sound that he can do vocally these days. And it's a really easy listen from start to end, 48 minutes long, and not a bad song on here in my opinion. There are definitely some songs that are stronger than others, obviously, but in my opinion, Bon Jovi definitely put his best foot forward here with his best studio album in years. One more thing, maybe it was a little bit of the elephant in the room, but Richie Sambora, once again, not a part of this album, not working with Bon Jovi, which is a shame because Richie Sambora is a fantastic player, has great chemistry with Jon Bon Jovi, and so while, Sambora's lack of involvement does not hurt the record by any means, it only could have made it stronger had he been a part of it, and so I think at this stage in both men's careers, a reunion is the best option at some point, just to kind of, again, bring things full circle here as we are celebrating 40 years of Bon Jovi, and, who knows how much time they have left touring, especially with Bon Jovi's voice and, the condition that it's in these days, and so I think, it's something that would be beneficial to both guys to have a a reunion at some point before they call things quits. And so, again, Bon Jovi and Richie Sambora work great together. Would I have liked to have heard Sambora on this album? Absolutely. Him not being on the record doesn't hurt it, but hopefully in the future we do get a reunion between the two of them, because that would just be great to see. So that wraps up my review of the new Bon Jovi studio album, Forever. I really enjoyed it, even though I'm not a big Bon Jovi guy, I gotta say. Did enjoy this album quite a bit, and so I'm pleased overall with this album. I'm going to give it 7.5 out of 10, like I said. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel down below, turn on the bell for notifications so you don't miss a new upload, and please let me know down in the comment section below what are your thoughts on the new Bon Jovi studio album, Forever. I definitely want to hear from you. And until next time, it's the CD guy, Johnny Z, signing off. Take care, everybody.